So this is the second year of the Hermit tarot reading, and we're going to use the Hermit to for our spread to give us a spread to read with. Um, so I have here the Rider-Waite-Smith Hermit card. Very traditional archetype, um, and this archetype is the sort of old man in this case with a beard, got a cloak, a staff, and a lamp. And we're going to use this as the basis for our reading. So we have one, two, three, four, five, six, five positions here on the board. And the first is the heart. What are you turning inwards towards this year? Because the year of the Hermit is a year of turning inwards. This is almost the main question. What are you turning inwards towards this year? The heart. Then we have the beard. Um, and I'm going to interpret this in the Hermit as the wisdom, and wisdom often comes with experience, doesn't it? So, he's got this long sort of white beard indicative of age. And whether it's age or whether it's just experience, wisdom does tend to come with that. So we've got wisdom. So we've got heart, we've got wisdom. We then have the staff. The staff is lovely because it's grounding. It has all the magic of a wand. You can direct energy with it, and it's very grounding, like the trunk of a tree. So we're connected in, we're grounded by the staff, and we're able to direct our energy using the staff. So we'll have a card for that. And we have the cloak. And the cloak is something that gives a real feeling of safety, security, because the cloak is it hides the hermit if the hermit chooses. So the hermit is wearing this grey cloak, may be able to sort of blend into the shadows, choose when and if to be visible. Because the hermit is very solitary, they may step away from wanting to be findable, approachable. And so the cloak serves as a kind of boundary to hide them, and it also protects them. The cloak is protecting the hermit from the elements, it's keeping them warm. So it's this portable protection, wonderful portable protection. And then, of course, we have the lamp, and the lamp is that image that we have. It shines the way forwards. So it shines how we are moving forwards. It shows us the next step. It illuminates the next step for us, and it also acts as a beacon, shining what we find in our hermitude, shining that outwards, making that available to others as well. Okay, so I'm doing the reading with the Oriens Animal Tarot today. I've not used it for a while, but it's a nice animal deck. Got some beautiful visuals on it. So we'll see what the animals have to say to us today. So I'll invite you to take a deep breath in. Just turning inwards like the hermit. Just asking to receive what you need from this reading. Okay, so our first card, the position of the heart. What are we turning inwards towards this year? Oh, and it's the Six of Swords, and this is quite an interesting looking Six of Swords, actually. So the Six of Swords kind of traditionally represents transition, journeys, change. So this could be anything from a physical transition from one place to another to you know, so it could be a death of the body, but also of a part of life. So an ending of one thing and the beginning of another. And I don't think I've pulled the Six of Swords before. So we've got it's quite an interesting image. It's a fish of some kind. I think it might be one of those fishes that expands itself to look bigger, to look scarier. And it's got the Six Swords kind of stuck in it. And in the Oriens Tarot, every card is kind of in this space of the universe. So you have all these stars in the background and kind of constellation galaxies in the background. So it's all happening kind of at a cosmic level. So the fish is moving not in water, although there is water in traditionally in the Six of Swords cards, but through this kind of cosmic soup that we're all part of. Um, and so it may be that with this turning inwards towards this Six of Swords, towards these transitions, um, it might be uncomfortable. I mean, that's the feeling that I'm getting from this image. It might be uncomfortable. It might be a having to make a transition deliberately, that we're not perhaps not yet prepared for. So this year is about preparing for transition as we go through it. And that, you know, that happens to us all at some point in life, doesn't it? That we come upon a transition that we're not ready for and that we only become ready for by experiencing it. So it's not necessarily an easy card, but of course the Six of Swords is about being able to move from one state to another. So being that moving from one role to another. Being able to exist almost in two places at once or in two planes at once. Um, so we'll see what the other cards around it have to say. I'm quite interested to see what they have to say about that. But we have a period of transition this year. So the next card is the beard, the wisdom. What is the wisdom that we bring with us this year? What wisdom um, do we have as our resource to use as we go through whatever periods of transition this year will ask us to turn towards? And just a point about that transition, because it is Hermit year, because it is about turning inwards, this is more likely to be an internal transition than an external transition. So not necessarily external circumstances, but more on the level of identity, who we are. And identity transitions can be very, very powerful. So the wisdom, this is interesting. It's another sea creature. It's a narwhal. It's the Seven of Cups. So we have these two sort of sea creatures so far. But of course, the cups is about the heart, the emotions. And the Seven of Cups is a funny one because it's often about us not necessarily having the skill or the ability to choose or not knowing how to make a choice, a decision. Sometimes we can be overwhelmed with options. What I really like about this one being the narwhal is that the narwhal is it's a real creature. But it should be a mythical creature, or perhaps it's a mythical creature that somehow has made its way into our reality. So we have this liminality. There's a liminality in the Six of Swords, and there's a liminality in this card as well. That actually, and yeah, I like that message. You know, sometimes something that seems mythical or fantastical is actually real, and there are times when the only difference between what is real and what is fantasy is the way that we approach something. So what this invites us to do is to be very clear on what our reality is, what we want our reality to be, but also gives us permission to play a little bit with creating our own reality, with not being, with the Seven of Cups, you know, not being told what is the correct choice. And maybe there isn't a correct choice, but to instead play with, well, what is the magic that I wish to draw forth? So this is the wisdom that we have with us, that we bring with us into the year. The next position then is the staff, and this is the energy that's going to be really, really grounding this year. So anytime this year that you feel a little thrown off balance, or you're maybe sort of up in the air with your thoughts, being carried away by whatever's going on, this is the energy that you can use to just plant in the ground and get really, really grounded and come back to this moment straight away. And it's another cups card, and it's the Four of Cups. I really, really like this card. It's I think that's another sea creature as well, a mollusk of some kind. And you can see the 3 cups below, and then the 4th cup is the vessel of the shell of the mollusk there in the cosmos, in the universe. And so in terms of sort of grounding us, the Four of Cups is often interpreted as, there's a cup you haven't seen, you're looking at these 3 cups in front of you, another one's being offered to you by the universe, and you're not able to see it or to grasp it. But the other side of that is that sometimes the 3 cups in front of you are enough, and you're actually not willing to be distracted by something else that's being offered to you or asked of you. So you could see that either way. And I think for this staff, this grounding staff position, this is more about that latter, like knowing what's important to you. That's a message that comes up in the 7 of Cups as well, and in how we approach and how we sort of transition in our identities in the 6 of Swords. It's all about knowing what's important for you, because if you don't know what matters to you, then you can get thrown off in that 7 of Cups. You can end up missing opportunities, as the 4 of Cups sometimes is. But if you know what's important to you, then you can choose, do I want to take up this opportunity or not? Are the opportunities that I'm already sitting with perhaps enough? And so the 4 of Cups invites us also to look a little bit of that energy of the 3 of Cups, which is, of course, about the people in our immediate circles that we are safe people, our friends, the people that we can be ourselves with, that we can, sometimes we'll just be having a laugh, and it's that's the end of it. And sometimes we go very deep, and sometimes we ask for support. And so that energy is there in the 4 of Cups a little bit as well. So yeah, the big theme here in this reading is about sort of knowing what is important, and it might come back to this identity. Who are you changing into, and who are you changing from? And some of that may be forced, or maybe sudden, or maybe may force you to confront realities that you'd rather not think about. And some of that will ask you to be really clear on what is important to you, so that you can make the choices about what is important to you. And the magic is there all the way through. The magic is there. The next position then is the cloak. So what protects you, what keeps you safe, and what keeps your boundaries as well around yourself. Oh, this is really interesting. So we've got the Devil. And this Devil card, it's a carnivorous plant. It's got a praying mantis crawling up it, but it's a carnivorous plant. So both the plant and the mantis think that they have the upper hand in this situation. And it really is about treading very, very carefully. So the Devil can be about patterns of belief and patterns of behavior, particularly, and traditionally will be about stuck patterns of belief or behavior, unhelpful patterns of belief or behavior, things that are not helpful. And I wonder, with this sort of identity transition coming up in the 6 of Swords, we will need to confront some of the devil narratives. Um, and because it's come up in this position of protection, one of the things that with stock patterns of behavior, one of the big purposes they serve is protection. So, we can learn to do a behavior that keeps us safe in a certain situation, often when we're very, very young. And then we are removed from that situation, we grow up, we're somewhere else, we no longer need to do that behavior, but we don't know how to not do that behavior because that behavior's been keeping us safe. So, what the devil invites you to do is to remember that you do need to be safe. That's important. That's a purpose that needs to be served for you. You always need to be safe. And just check in with your patterns. Are some of those patterns old? Can they be let go of? Are there new and better patterns which are ready now to keep you safe? And are you able to keep yourself safe in in more appropriate ways for the life that you have now, for the person that you have now, that you are now, and for the situations that you find yourself in now? So that's a really, really interesting one to come up in the position of protection. And, of all the cards so far, if I were to suggest a practice from this reading, it would be obviously the devil practice from the daily tarot ritual, but also the habit reprogramming practice, which helps you to discover new and more appropriate ways to serve that ultimate purpose of keeping yourself safe. So I actually really love that card's come up. I know it's one of the traditionally less comfortable cards in the deck, but I really love it being there where it is because I think that is going to be some work, but it's going to be a really, really strong, powerful resource for us. And then finally, the lamp. So in this position, you're going to get next steps. What is the next step to take on your way? Whole path might not be illuminated yet, but the next step is. But also, what is the light that you're shining out, that you're sharing in the world at this time? What is, as that hermit there under the cloak and distanced and solitary and mostly invisible, the light is the most visible thing. So what is it? What is the energy that you're lighting the world with at this moment? And we've got the Queen of Wands, and it's a lovely sort of little harvest mouse creature with a stick of wheat and some, I think, orchids there and a moon behind her. So a wand is something that sustains her, that nourishes her, and she's in the right place. She's there with the plants, with the flowers. This is what sustains her, and with that sort of cosmic background and the moon as well backing her up as well. So in terms of next steps, the court cards, especially when there's only one in a reading, are an invitation to how to be, how to approach situations. So, the Queen of Wands, I always say, just makes things happen. The Queen of Wands knows what needs to happen and just makes things happen. So, I invite you to step into your confidence as the Queen of Wands and to know that you can make things happen just like that, very simply by directing your energy at them. Of course, the Wands is about energy, about creativity. So when you direct that energy and creativity into the whatever it is that you want to make happen, then things do happen. So it's an invitation as a next step to firstly, just invite in this energy of the Queen of Wands to tend to your own flame. The Queen of Wands is able to make things happen because she's in charge of her own flame. She's the queen. So she makes sure that flame is getting the fuel it needs, the right amount of oxygen, not too much, not too little. That it's in the right place. This is what the Queen does, and then because her flame is sustainable, then she's able to direct that energy wherever. So, firstly, an energy check in. Make sure that your energy is sustainable. Make any tweaks you need to. That might happen at an unconscious level, or you might find that you want to sit down and decide, what tweaks do I need to make to really tend to my energy so that I can send it in the right direction. So that's the very first step, and then let that energy sort of take you and guide you into what is next. Because this is in the position of the lantern as well, it may be that already people around you are perceiving you as that Queen of Wands. So it may be that people are coming to you and saying, "Can you make this happen? Can you make this happen? Or could you make this happen as well?" So just be aware of that, and know that the Queen of Wands is in charge of her own energy. So it's yes, you can make things happen for other people as well, but you don't have to at the expense of your own flame. So just keeping that sort of boundary there and with you. So, in summary, this is a really lovely little reading that invites a lot more introspection, a lot more time. I shall certainly go and sit with this reading. So, the turning inwards, the towards the heart. What are we turning inwards towards this year? Was the Six of Swords. So it's transition, and particularly a transition of identity. Who we are. How do we identify? And it's a really, really big thing. And it's something that, does take a long time. Those kinds of transitions do take a long time. So, you may find that here at the beginning of 2025, you're not the same person you were at the beginning of 2024. But that transition might have it won't have happened overnight. There won't be a date where you can say, well, on that day I was the person before and on this day I was the person after. That's not how it works. So, and it may not be, a year, it may be 10 years, it may be, we're always sort of evolving in who we are. And so this focus on this identity transition is really, really it's a permission to experience that, because often when we're going through that as well, we're doing all the other things of life. We're just, we're living and we're doing the day to day. And there's a permission, an invitation here to sit with that, to give that some time, to turn inwards towards it. And it doesn't have to be, because it is the hermit turning inwards, it doesn't have to be this, hello, here I am, this is who I am now. This is an internal transition. You don't have to announce it to anyone. Like the people around you, the real people around you will recognize and accept and be part of it anyway. And you can just allow that to sort of quietly go on for you. The beard, then the wisdom that we bring in with us is the Seven of Cups, and with this being the narwhal in this deck, is very, very much this invitation to intentionally blur the boundaries between fantasy and reality. So to allow ourselves to entertain that there might be such a creature as a unicorn of the sea, and that it's real. So we will all have had times where what we chose to believe was possible influenced what was possible. So bringing that wisdom with you into this year, and just allowing that to be part of the mix. The staff, what grounds you, is the Four of Cups. So again, with this Seven of Cups, this is about choices. Where do you put your energy? Where do you put your attention? And sort of coming back to that. And because it is the staff, this position of grounding, that fourth extra cup might be a distraction. It might be something that draws your attention away for a moment. So, allowing yourself to come back in and ground and go, okay, do I choose to accept and integrate this fourth cup? Or do I choose to leave it there for now? And I'll either come back to it later, or it will no longer be appropriate, whichever. and just stay grounded with the cups that I've got, the cups that I'm working with, that I'm that I have with me at the moment. So choices, which of course is perfect for the devil, who is here in the position of the cloak, what protects you, and is an invitation, along with that Six of Swords. You know, who am I? There may be parts of who you are at this time that exist to protect you. And the question is, do you still need them? Or can you allow yourself to be safe in another way? And there's no right or wrong answer to that question. You know, you might not still need them, and they're valid, or you might not, and then you can choose to kind of release them. But there's a real invitation here to patterns of beliefs and behaviors that we feel protect us, even if we don't sort of consciously say to ourselves, you know, this is what protects me. To recognize those patterns and to accept the invitation to choice. Again, as you know, we have choice in how we proceed from here. And then finally, the lamp was the Queen of Wands, so it's an invitation to tend to your energy, stoke your flame, you know, let it get really powerful, and then make things happen. And this is the next step, and it's also how you're presenting in the world. So that was Year of the Hermit Tarot reading part 2 with the Oriens Animal Tarot. This is the point where the guided subscribers who have attended the reading live get to go off and do a tarot swap in this held space. If you'd like to attend the readings live, they're every Sunday at 2 o'clock GMT, and you can find the link in the community page of the Guided by Keziah app. You'll also find lots of courses and practices on there, and I'd love for you to join us there. Take good care.